Hello and welcome to Arsenal Domination, where, inspired by a conversation I was having on True Guna on Monday night, which I think it was Luca that asked the question, and I thought it was a good one, about who Arsenal should target as a striker this summer. I think it's unarguable or inarguable, not sure which, inarguable. Let's go with inarguable. It's inarguable that Arsenal need a number nine this summer. Kai Havertz has done really, really well, all things considered, considering he wasn't brought in to be a striker. I think he offers a lot to Arsenal in terms of build-up play, but it's definitely not the case that he is a clinical striker. He's a type of striker that will, need plenty of chances to score. And Arsenal, I think, will upgrade him this summer. During Mikel Arteta's time at the club, we've only really bought one striker in Gabriel Jesus, and even then, some people say he's a right wing forward rather than a striker. My view is he's a number nine, and that's his best position. But the point still stands. Arsenal have not done enough in that position, and I somewhat understood why that was the case in the summer when Benjamin Sesko decided to stay where he was. Because there were question marks about the other two strikers I'm going to mention today, Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres, because I think the strikers Arsenal will go for this summer are going to be one of those three, ideally. And I'm going to sort of touch on those reasons there. But this summer, Arsenal, the money is definitely there. I've spoken about that before. And Arsenal just need to make it happen. And Kai Havertz will and should be upgraded in that position. So I just want to have a look at the three options and sort of give a view on how I think this will impact Arsenal's summer transfer window, because this is obviously going to be one of the key positions they are going to look to target. So let's just go through them very quickly. Alexander Isak, of course, the most expensive of the three. He's 25, I think, is Premier League proven goal scorer. He has 23 goals and 5 assists in 33 games in all competitions this season. He's a real difference maker for Newcastle. We saw that when we played them in the Carabao Cup, and we saw it against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final as well. Big game player, can make things happen, runs the channels really well, can link play. As a real athlete, I don't think I'd quite put him in the same bracket as Thierry Henry, but he's that sort of type player. And that would be something really dynamic to Arsenal's forward line that they're currently missing. He would definitely be a different profile of player to Kai Havertz, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And he would definitely start over Kai Havertz. The downside for him is going to be the two things, really, which is the price tag. £150 million being quoted. I suspect that would come down, but you're probably looking in excess of 120, £130 million to land Alexander Isak this summer, because Newcastle, particularly if they get Champions League, will be in no need to sell. They won't be in a financial position where they have to sell, and I think if they are in a position where they have to sell a big player, it's going to be Bruno Guimaraes rather than Alexander Isak. The other question mark about him, of course, is he's injury prone. He's missed 39 matches in over 200 days since he arrived at Newcastle with 6 different injuries. And he had an injury history at his club beforehand as well. That is something Arsenal will need to be aware of, particularly given how injuries have impacted this season. Maybe somewhat mitigated by the fact that you do have Kai Havertz sort of available and in the wings should Alexander Isak go down. But that will be something that Arsenal will be weighing. Victor Gyökeres then, number 2, also Swedish. He is, in his prime right now, has had phenomenal numbers in Sporting. 51 goals and assists in 40 games this season. Previously showed he could score goals in the Championship when he played for Coventry, where he got over 20 goals for them, and has an £85 million release clause should Arsenal wish to trigger it. I suspect Arsenal would probably not trigger the release clause and would look to negotiate a different deal, because that would help with FFP. He, of course, is, again, very good at linking up play. He's more of a target man than Isak, but he can run the channels too, and he can bring players in, and he's not afraid of a shot, as his goal numbers show. But we also have to sort of be aware that his numbers, while sounding amazing, need to be slightly tempered by the fact that he's playing in a very dominant Sporting side who are very dominant domestically, and playing against weaker opposition than Isak or indeed the next man, which is Benjamin Sesko. He is 21. He's the youngest of the three. He's the most raw. There's no question about it. And his numbers are the poorest of the three, which probably sort of reflects his price tag, which will probably around the 60 to 65 million pound mark. Um, Leipzig struggled for creativity a little bit this season. But he does have 17 goals in 36, so just shy of one every 2 games, and he does have 6 assists as well. He's playing in the weakest of the three teams as well, comparatively compared to the other teams in their division. Uh, Arsenal, we know, are very interested. He's a player that can link up play. He's tall. He's physical. That will sort of help Arsenal with the fact they like to try and get balls into the box because he's more of a target man and he's good in the air and he's certainly not afraid to have a shot. But he is, as I say, the most raw. But arguably, he's the biggest tactical fit for what Arsenal have now. So I think some of the decision round for Arsenal will be: do they make a tactical change, which would be someone like an Isak, where you slightly change the way you play, or do you go, actually, do you know what? We're going to play the same way, and he's the man that fits that. And if he's not working, we're going to put Kai Havertz on, who can also play in a similar way. I think they're the decisions Arsenal are going to have to make from a tactical point of view. But there are also things around how they approach the transfer window. We all expect Arsenal to have a significant transfer window. I've done videos on this before. I don't believe the number that's out there of 300 million at the moment. It makes no sense for Arsenal to reveal that. But I think what it does indicate is that Arsenal have got a significant transfer window. It's helped by Champions League money. It's helped by the fact we didn't spend a lot this year, where I believe money was tight. And I think the new director of football coming in sort of suggests that you back him to the full. Otherwise, you're sort of setting him up to fail slightly. But I talk about the money here because they've all got three different price points. Let's just call Isak 130 million. Let's call Gyökeres 90 million. And let's call Šeško 65 million pounds. The more you spend on a number 9, the less you have to spend elsewhere. And Arsenal will look to bring in at least one winger, at least one central midfielder, probably two, probably a defender and a backup goalkeeper. And we could be looking at two wingers. So we could be looking at what's that: goalkeeper, defender, two centre midfielders, two wingers, and a striker. Up to 7 players this summer, depending on who departs. That's a lot of work to do. And the more, as I say, the more you spend on the striker, the less you have to spend elsewhere. So that will be a consideration for Arsenal. I suspect if Isak is available for the 100 to 120 million pound mark, I think Arsenal will go for him. And even if that means, instead of getting, let's say Eze, there's no links with him at the moment, but let's say that's the centre midfielder they want. Maybe they go for Naipan, a midfielder we know they're interested in, and instead of spending 50 million, they spend 20 million pound there. Maybe something like that is what they look at instead to make Isak work. My gut feel is it will be Benjamin Šeško. I think. I think that's perfectly fine. I think he's going to be a very good striker. He's more one for potential, but you still do have Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus at some stage. So if he's struggling with form, we have those options. But again, he is showing that he can score goals at a good level in the Bundesliga. I would like Isak despite the injury risks because, again, you've got the likes of Kai Havertz who can step in. I suspect it will Šeško, and I think the reason it will be Šeško is because Arsenal will want to spend big on central midfield and a winger at the very, very least, as well as some money in those other areas. Though the 7 players I talk about will be impacted by who leaves, but the number 9 for me is the crucial one this summer for Arsenal, the one that we've all been waiting for. And we've been waiting for it because Arsenal say they want to make sure they get the right number 9. That increases the pressure on them. They have to get this right. I think everyone wants Isak. I think Arsenal want Isak. But I suspect it will be Benjamin Šeško. And I think that will be absolutely fine. No issues with any of these 3 coming in. But I think that will be what Arsenal do. Benjamin Šeško to Arsenal looks the most likely. And I think that will get the here we go at some point in the summer. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think on any of what I've said today in the comments below. And I will speak to you all very soon. Thanks. Bye.